Okay, guys, I had a couple of questions directed towards me about the U1A7. So let me write this out here so I know where I am. U1A7 homework, especially number 9. So if you look at the homework for number 9, let me see if I can find it here. Right here, questions like this. Okay, so questions like this here. So you know what? I'm going to take a quick picture of that. How do I do this? So I go here, and I go here, and I click this. And then let me just go back to here, and then I will click and take a picture of this and bring it over so we can work on it. So that all goes, should show up over here now. There it is. Okay, so this homework here, good news for you. This is more grade 10 and grade 11 work than it is grade 9 work, so you will not be tested on this sort of thing. So that's good to know. But I will go over it anyway, so because some of you have interest in learning how to do this. So what you have here is, I'll do all these. A to the 4, B to the 5 times AB cubed. Remember that that's a 1 there, okay? And then when you multiply, again, because this is now just being multiplied, you can really write that like even like this if you feel like it. Okay, and then you can rearrange it like this, and then you can rearrange it like that also. So you can put the variables that are common beside each other if you feel like it. Okay, the other thing you can do is just ignore that and say, look, I'm multiplying a to the 4 times a to the 1, and when you multiply, you add the exponents. So, and then same with this, you just add the exponents, and you're done. Okay, same with this one here. How many m's are there? There's 2, there's 3, there's a total of to the power of 5, and there is n to the 7. So I'm just going to show you what this looks like written out and long. That's m, right? M squared, n to the 4 times m cubed, n cubed. So I can rearrange this whole thing and say, look, there's 3, there's 2, there's 3, there's 5 m's, and there are 7 n's. Okay. Division, same sort of thing here. I could write them out in long form if I want to. There's p to the 6. Is that 6? Q, 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 all divided by, so it's easier, I think, if you look at it as a fraction, P, 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 Q, Q, and what happens is these cancel out. P over P is 1, P over P is 1, P over P is 1, and I'm left with P cubed, 3 P's, and same with this. 2 Q's disappear, 3 Q's are left, and I end up with P cubed, Q cubed. Now, you don't have to do that. You can just look at it and say the rules state that when you divide, you subtract the exponents. 6 minus 3 is 3. 5 minus 2 is also 3. Okay. When you have a coefficient in front, just divide them the way you would normally divide. So 6 divided by 2 is 3. And again, when you do division questions, I think it's easier to think of it as a fraction written like this. So I have this, and then I have this. Okay. So that 6 divided by 2 is 3. X to the 1, or just x is left over. And then I have 2, and this would be a 1. So 2 subtract 1. When you divide, you subtract, and you have y. Now, if you can, don't write it like this, because we don't usually write stuff like that. Okay. But it's not wrong if you have the power of 1 there. Power of a power, you're going to take this 3, and so power of a power, the way it works is this. If I just had this h to the 4 to the power of 3, what that means is I have h to the 4 times h to the 4 times h to the 4. Okay, and that's, if I wrote this out, I'd have a bunch of h's, a bunch of h's, a bunch of h's, and I end up having 12 of them. Okay, and that's how that works. And what you do is you just multiply these numbers together, 4 and 3. Okay, so same with this. This will be h to the 12, and then g was to the power of 1, or just left alone here, and you're going to apply the power rule to that also and get g cubed. All right, this one here now gets a little more entertaining here, so I'm going to just clean all this up. I can make a circle close to it, close enough, and I'll just switch colors too. And let's keep going with this here. Let's do, where was I? F. So 2k squared m cubed times 2k squared all squared. Okay. So, and these are multiplying with each other. So when you multiply, you can write brackets like this. Like that's the same as multiplication. So first step before we do anything, I think we should do this power of the power rule here. Just to be careful. This one's a little tricky. Get a lot of 2's, right? So I have 2k squared m cubed, and that's 2 squared. So be careful on this. 2 to the power of 2. So 2 to the power of 2 is 4. Okay, and then k squared squared, you're going to multiply the 2's together and get k to the 4. So now I just have this question, and I do it the way I would have done, one of the questions earlier. 2 times 4 is 8. I have 2 k's, I have 4 k's, so I have 6 k's, and I just have the 3 m's. Okay, that gets me F. G, same sort of thing. You want to clean up this part first. So you're going to square everything. You end up with 4 G10 H6, and divided by 2g, and that's a 1, h to the 6. So the rules are the rules. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 10 subtract 1 is 9. Okay, and you don't need to write it like this. You can just leave it like this with the division sign. And then 6 minus 6 is 0. And I don't know if we showed this before, but what we have is h over h. Okay, and if you say that's 0, is that 6? That's 6, but that's 5. H divided by h is 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. I have all 1s. 1 times 1 divided by 1s is 1. So anything to the power of 0 is 1, so this kind of disappears. Okay, so h to the 0, which becomes 1, and we don't need to write that because that's 2 times g to the 9. Okay, so that's the power, that's the power of 0, so h to the 0. Anything to the 0, x to the 0. Anything negative 3 to the 0 is 1, 1, 1. Okay, this last one here, I mean, you know the rules now. You can do this. 6 times 3 is 18. Okay, so let's clean up the top and then clean up the bottom. B, how many B's do I have? 2. I have 2 more. That's 4. I have a D. I have 2 more. I have 3 D's. On the bottom, I'll square everything. 3 squared is 9. B squared is B squared. And D squared is D squared. Now I'll divide. 18 divided by 9 is 2. 4 subtract 2 is 2. 3 subtract 2 is 1. And I'll just write it like that. Okay, I hope that helps. Again, not, I mean, some of this stuff's okay. Once we get to this stuff down here, don't really expect to see that on tests or anything in grade 9. But it's interesting stuff. Okay, and don't forget, the rules are the rules. If you apply the exponent rules, you'll get the right answer. And if you didn't go in the same order as I did in some of these questions, you kind of, divided, before multiplying or whatever. Okay, here there's an option for in H that you might have been able to do that. If you find that you didn't follow the same order that I went, but you got the same answers, you probably did it right. Okay, and that's kind of the neat thing about exponent rules. Okay, take care.